back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. I decided that it was time to start doing face-to-face content because honestly I think it's just a little bit easier and a little bit more convenient than doing voiceovers all the time. So hello, if you're new to my channel, my name is Lucy. I like to make videos about books and journaling and just all sorts of cozy hobbies and things. Today I'm very excited because I am going to be doing my first monthly reset of 2025. I love resetting honestly at any period of time, and I was kind of taking the first couple months of the year to focus on New Year reset type things. So this is my first time actually doing a monthly reset for 2025 and I'm so excited about it. I feel like March is also a particularly exciting month to reset because it's also the first month of spring, and I'm sure you'll hear me talk about this a lot in the next couple of months, but spring is just my favorite season. I love it so much. I just feel the most myself during the springtime. I don't know, I just love it so much and I'm very excited about it this year. My plan is to basically just spend the next couple of days, the last few days of February, just doing some cozy bookish things to reset for March and hopefully make it a really nice month. The first step is to do some reflecting. I feel like this is a step that I might have maybe neglected a little bit in the past. I think it's important before moving on, to a new stretch of time, to a new month, to kind of take some time to reflect and appreciate the last month. So I thought something that could potentially be kind of fun to start including in these videos is a little bit of like a life journal monthly review type page. So this is my life journal for 2025. It's really just like a diary, junk journal, scrapbook, whatever you want to call it. And I shared with you all my setup for this in my 2025 reset video. And I thought I could do a little update on this because it's obviously been a couple of months and I have been using it, I have been keeping up with it, and I wanted to show you just some of the spreads that I've made since then and just a little update as well. And then I also thought that we could set up a little monthly review page as well. I think that could be fun. I just want to go through my camera roll and pick out some pictures that I think kind of summarize the month of February, some of the highlights, some of the things that I got up to, and just make a little spread to kind of appreciate February and hopefully document and remember a couple of things. Potentially the most exciting part of this video will definitely be my reading journal setup for March. This is also extra exciting for March because I will be just doing my normal reading journal setup, but I'm actually also starting a new reading journal. This is my current reading journal, and I don't know if you can see how full it is and how the spine is kind of definitely being tested. I started this journal, I want to say in the summertime of 2024, and I've been using it since then. I set up all of my 2025 New Year spreads in here, and it's just filling up. And I do have a couple of pages left. I think I'll probably use those for book reviews and things like that, but for the most part it is completely filled and bursting. I'm a little worried about the spine because I do want this to last until the end of the year since I do have so many of my New Year spreads in here. So I think that it's just time to switch to a new journal, and I feel like a new season going from winter to spring is just a really good time to do that. So I have a pretty new reading journal here that I'm excited to set up. I'm going to do a little beginning of the journal page and then just my typical monthly setup, which I love to share with you. I love my reading journal so much. And then I thought we could end off this video doing just a little bookish chat and catch up. I wanted to do just a little February wrap up, kind of share with you the books that I've been reading in February and my thoughts on them, that sort of thing. And then also we got to talk about my TBR for March and just kind of the books on my radar. I'll definitely talk more about spring books and spring TBRs and videos to come, and I'm so excited for that. I've just been in such a big reading mood recently and I am just very excited for spring. I think it's a great season, but also a great season for reading too, so I'm very excited. I also have some packages to open, some book mail that's been coming in that I'm really excited about. I think that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoy this little bookish, cozy March reset. Let's start with doing some February reflecting. Alright, so I just finished doing my little reflecting February review highlights type page in my life journal, and I think it turned out so cute. I'm really happy with it. I love the whole like pink Valentine's Day theme. I think it turned out super cute, so I'm very, very excited about that. February was honestly a really good month for me. It was a very kind of just slow, peaceful, chill month. I think I was feeling a little bit stressed out in January, just lots of traveling and lots of just like New Year type things, and so I really wanted to take February to really just rest and relax and have no plans, and that's kind of what it was, and it was really nice. I really enjoyed my cozy February. I think especially knowing that in March and in the next couple of months, spring and summer, it's just going to be very busy and crazy for me, so I'm really glad that I got February to just kind of really relax and rest. So, and I did get up to some fun things too, so I'm excited to have a little page to kind of celebrate that. I think it is now time to set up my reading journal. I actually did set this up a couple of days ago because I got really excited. But yeah, I'll go ahead and share with you my little reading journal setup for March, and then also just starting a new journal, so I hope you enjoy that. Okay, my reading journal is all set up, and I'm so happy with how it turned out. I pretty much just decorated the name page because why not? And then I just decided to kind of go right into it. This journal is really a migration from the last one, so I didn't have to like set up any new spreads or anything like that. It's pretty much just transferring from the last journal, and I'm just kind of going right into it, going right into the March spreads. I love the kind of spring, colorful feel to it. I just think it turned out really cute. I don't know if you can tell, but I've just been loving using Pinterest for cutouts and fonts. I just think it's a very fun and easy way to add decoration and color and pattern to your journal, so I've been loving using that resource. I also have been working on some other spreads. So I did my March spread, and then right now I'm currently working on like a physical TBR type spread. I have to go in and finish that one. I also need to, this is very exciting, do a new like 4.5 5-star Hall of Fame spread, because I have been having so many 5 stars this year, or like up there. Some of them have been rereads, but most of them have just been new favorites, and most of them in February too. So I'm really excited to talk to you about that in my little February wrap up, because we have some really great books that I read in February, and I'm so excited. So I need to make a new like Hall of Fame spread, because I am kind of running out of room on my other one, which I feel like is a really good problem to have, because it means that we're reading some really good books. Next, I think I want to do a little book unboxing. I have some packages. I have one from Waterstones, some books that came in for some UK editions of some series that I'm currently reading, and then I also have a pre-order coming in, I think tomorrow, so I'll include the footage for that as well, which is very exciting. That book is also on my March TBR, and then I think after that we'll come back and do a little February reading wrap up, and then talk about all the books that I am hoping to also get to in March as well. So let's go open some packages. Everyone, it is now Saturday, the 1st of March, so happy March to everybody who is watching this. To celebrate the start of March and to finish off this little reset video, I thought we could do a little February wrap up, talk about all the books that I read this month, and then also my March TBR, and just some other books that are kind of on my radar, do a little bookish catch up. Let's start with a little February reading wrap up. So February was an interesting reading month for me, I have to say. I think I was definitely in some sort of reading slump for the majority of the month. I was kind of starting a lot of books and then not finishing them, not having the like stamina and focus and concentration, I guess, to actually finish books. But I do have around 7 books to talk about this month. It was interesting because I feel like I was in a reading slump, but I also read some really good books this month. I think maybe because I was having trouble like actually sticking to books and finishing them. The ones that I did actually finish and read all the way through were ones that I was just really loving, really caught my attention, I was really immersed in. So we ended up having a lot of 5 stars and just really highly rated books this month. I read some series, I finished some series, started some series, continued some series, standalones. I feel like we have a good kind of mix of everything. One series that I actually finished this month is the Emily Wilde series by Heather Fawcett. This is one of my favorite series of all time. I've talked about it a lot actually, but I just love the series so much. It's kind of a historical fantasy, light academia situation, and I just think it's the most wholesome, cute, cozy story I've ever read, and I just love this world so much. The 3rd book actually came out this month. It came out around the middle of the month, and I was really excited about it. So I did actually do a reread of the first 2 in the series. I reread the first one in January, and then I reread the second one in February. So that was actually the first book that I finished this month, was the second Emily Wilde book, Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands. This was a 5 star the first time I read it, and a 5 star the second time. I think this is still technically my my favorite in the series. There's just something a bit extra magical about this one. I don't really know what it is. I think I just love the whole like alpine setting. I love like kind of what happens in this book, all the character development. I really love this one. I think all of them are good. I've actually given all of the books in the series 5-star, but I do think that this one is still my favorite upon a reread. So I read that to kind of prepare myself for the new release of the third one, and I did also read the third one, and this was also a 5-star. I loved this so much. I think this was honestly the perfect ending to the story. I do think just kind of atmosphere-wise, in terms of what happens in this book and kind of where it takes place, it does feel a little bit different than the first two, but I think it still has that whimsy and that wholesomeness, that coziness that I loved about the story in general. And I feel like this book would honestly have to have been really, really bad for me to not like it and to not give it 5 stars, because at this point, I just love the characters and the world so much. So I think this was the perfect ending to the series. I'm really sad the series is now over, but I will definitely be rereading it multiple times in my life, I think. And then a series that I continued in February is the Scholomance series. I read the first one, A Deadly Education, I think around the fall of last year, and I honestly didn't really like it that much. I didn't dislike it, I just didn't know if I wanted to continue the series. But this year I've been reading more from Naomi Novik and I've been having a really good time. I read Spinning Silver and I really loved it. I started reading Uprooted this month and I was also really loving it. So I just decided to continue the Scholomance series, and I read the second one, which is The Last Graduate. I actually listened to this one over audiobook, and I think this was a really, really fun audiobook to listen to, and I ended up really enjoying this book. I would probably give it around a 4 stars. I think it was significantly better than the first one. I can't really describe why. I think just the plot was fascinating. I was entertained and immersed the entire time. It was very kind of high stakes. I thought there was some really, really interesting and well done character development in this story. I really like Naomi Novik's characters, especially in this series. I just feel like they're very unique and well written and just very interesting to follow around. So I ended up really enjoying this one. This is kind of like a dark academia fantasy. I don't think it's technically YA, but we are following around high school students as they are in this magical school that is also very deadly and dangerous. So we're essentially just following them around as they are trying to graduate, trying to survive and make it through their senior year. So I ended up really, really enjoying this one. I'm so glad I decided to stick with the series because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to read the third one, and this was just a really good time. I would definitely recommend this series if you're just looking for something fun and fast pace, high stakes. I think you just kind of have to get used to Naomi Novik's writing style. It's a little bit unique, but I really, really enjoy it, so I'm excited to continue the series in March, hopefully. This month, I also started a new series, and that is the Graceling series by Kristen Cashore. We're essentially set in this world where certain people have graces, which are basically just like magical abilities of sorts, and our main character, Katsa, in this story has a killing grace, and she's kind of been raised as a weapon for the king, and so we follow her around as she goes on this quest, and there's a lot of political intrigue and adventure and questing. It's a really fun time. I ended up really enjoying this one. I think the audiobook was also really, really well done. The writing style is very, I don't know, kind of choppy, I guess. Like, it's very short sentences, not a lot of adjectives or descriptors, and so I think it made it a little bit hard for me to read when I was trying to read it like physically, but when I started listening to the audiobook, I ended up really getting into it. It was also one of those like full production audiobooks, full cast and music and sound effects, so it was also just extra exciting to listen to. And I think overall this was just a really nice, well-rounded story. I liked the characters, I liked the plot. It was exciting and immersive, and really the more the story progressed, the more I was into it, so I'm really excited to continue this series as well. I don't know, I think this was just a very fun audiobook to listen to. That's probably also how I will read the rest of the series. This was fun. I think it's nice to read a YA fantasy every once in a while. And then the highlight of my month, besides Emily Wilde of course, is that I think I can safely say that I have found a new favorite author this month, or at least a new author within my favorites list. I read 3 of her books this month, and I'm so excited to read more because I just had the best time reading her books this month. And that author is none other than V.E. Schwab. She has so many books, and they're all very different from what I've been told, and I feel like she's just a very highly loved and highly regarded author, so I was honestly a little bit nervous to get into her books. I started with The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This is a very popular book. I also talked about it in, I think, one of my February reading vlogs, so I won't go too much into it, but in short, I loved this book so much. This is definitely 5-star, definitely a favorite of the year, and I think just a new favorite of mine in general. I do think that this was a very well-written story, and I would definitely recommend it, but I think I just loved it because I personally connected to it so much. I just felt this has only happened to me a couple of times where I read a book and it just feels like it was meant for me in some sort of way, and I don't know, I just connected to it so deeply. I can't really explain why. I loved the themes of the story and kind of the discussions around immortality and humanity and all these different things, what it means to be remembered. I loved the characters. I related to them so much, and just everything about the story was very just emotional to me, and I absolutely binged it, which is not a very common experience for me. I don't think I'm very much of a binge reader, but I could not put this book down. So good. I could talk about this forever. After that, I think, definitely in book hangover mode and kind of getting a little bit slumpy again. I didn't really know what to read next after reading such an amazing and like personal, emotional story. So I randomly decided to pick up another one of her books. A lot of them are on Kindle Unlimited. Addie LaRue is on Kindle Unlimited. So I decided to pick up Vicious, which is very different than Addie LaRue. This is more of like a dark academia sci-fi. I wouldn't say it's fantasy. I feel like the kind of otherworldly aspect of the story is definitely more sci-fi leaning, and it's really just like a very action-packed action-adventure type story. I loved this one too. This one was so good. I think I would maybe give this one 4.5 stars. It was just, again, so bingeable. I read it in a couple of days. I couldn't put it down, and it instantly got me out of my reading slump. Sometimes you have those books that you're just so excited and almost like thankful to be reading, to have such a good story to return to and such interesting characters to follow around. I think I also really enjoy just the themes of this series. There's a lot of talk about kind of morality, what it means to be good versus evil, what actions are justified, and it was just really fascinating. I really, really enjoyed it. Literally, the night that I finished it, I did go straight into Vengeful, which is the second one in the series. I thought that this was a duology. I think there's actually going to be at least another book coming out at some point in the future, but there are only 2 out right now, and there have only been 2 out for a little while. We got to know a lot of our characters a little bit better, got more of kind of the past timelines. We also got some new characters introduced, and somehow the plot just got more like action filled and drama filled and exciting in this one. So I really, really loved this one too. I actually think I did like this one a little bit better. I think I was just very attached to the characters at this point and just so intrigued and invested. So that was my little introduction to V.E. Schwab. I'm really excited to go back and read more of her books now. I think maybe next I'll try out the Shades of Magic series. I feel like that's probably her next most popular series. I know she also has a new release coming out this year, which I'm so intrigued by. So I'm really excited in the next few months and for this year to just have an author to go to the next time I'm feeling slumpy or just want to find a book that I think has a high chance of me really enjoying it. So those are all the books that I read in February. Definitely a little bit of a slumpy month, but even so, we had some amazing reads, definitely some new favorites. So I'm pretty happy about that. Okay, to end all this video, I do want to talk about my little short March TBR. This year, I'm only doing 3 book long monthly TBRs. So all 3 of the books that I have on my March TBR are all also on my 2025 TBR, which is a list that I'm definitely trying to stick to this year because I think I've had a pretty high success rate with it so far, and I just think that those are the books that are going to be just very enjoyable for me. So I'm really trying to stick to that list this year. So the first book is Oathbound by Tracy Deonn. I think this comes out very soon, just in a couple days now. I think this first week of March. This is the 3rd book in the Legendborn cycle series. I don't know how many books are actually going to be in the series total, but this is just the 3rd one that's coming out. I read the first 2 books in the series last year and I really, really enjoyed them. I think this is just honestly probably one of the most well-written and just best YA fantasy stories I've ever read. Everything about it, the characters, the plot, the history, the world building, the magic system, I think was just done so well. It's such an intricate and kind of complex story. There's just so many elements to it, and I think they're all just done super well. I absolutely love the characters in the story, and they definitely got up to some things in Bloodmark that make me a little bit nervous to see what Oathbound has in store, but I'm also really excited about it, to return to this world, to see how the story kind of progresses. I will probably read it pretty soon after it comes out. I'm really excited. I do have the pre-order for this one as well, so I think that that will be potentially one of my next reads. And then another pre-order that I had coming in that you guys just saw me unbox earlier is Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. This cover is stunning. It is so pretty. I love this cover so much. So this is actually not a new release. I think it was just recently traditionally published. This book is also on my 2025 TBR. I love T. Kingfisher. I love the books that I've read of hers so far, but I do feel like the books that I have read of hers have definitely been her more kind of gothic horror side of things, and I think she does have some other books that are a little bit more kind of lighthearted fantasy romance type books, so I really enjoyed her gothic horror. I think they were just very well written, and I'm excited to see what I think of her just more kind of lighthearted stories. This is one that I've heard really good things about. I know this also takes place in the same world as, I think it's called the Paladin series, so I'm really excited about this one. I don't really know what it's about, but I think it will just be fun to kind of jump into and enjoy. I love T. Kingfisher's writing style. I love her humor, and I'm excited to see what I think about this one. The last book on my TBR for March is Small Favors by Erin A. Craig, and I really don't know what this is about except that I think it has something to do with like honey and beekeepers. Maybe there's fae in it. I don't know. It just looks like a very kind of spring book to me. I love Erin A. Craig's stories. I feel like they have the perfect combination of kind of that whimsy magical element to them, but also they're kind of eerie. There's definitely a gothic element to them, and some of her books more than others, I would say. But they're also just really bingeable and easy to read and immersive and just great books to read, I think, if you want something that's just gonna completely suck you into the world and get you out of reading slump maybe. I just really enjoy her stories. So I'm excited to see what I think about this one, kind of the last of her main books that I still have to read. So those are all the books that are on my TBR for March. There are definitely more books that I'm hoping to get to. I definitely want to finish up the Scholomance series. I want to continue my read of the Graceling series, and then I would definitely include this in a video coming up, but I'm going to soon kind of start compiling my own personal like spring TBR as well, and so I definitely want to start reading more kind of spring related books this month as well. But I think that's it for my little like bookish chat and catch up, and I think that's also it for this reset video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.